Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Sponauer and Theo Ash. And today we're talking about week 2 of NFL preseason. Should be exciting. More Caleb Williams madness going absolutely crazy against the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll talk about him and all the other great preseason performance. But before we get into that, Matt, Theo, how are you guys doing on this beautiful Sunday evening?
Doing pretty well. This is good practice for the actual regular season for us here as we're recording after the last preseason game, getting back into the swing of things. And
yeah, let me prepare to never sleep again, man.
Yeah.
I was locking in on the Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener master classes we were seeing. Oh my God.
Facts, bro.
But it's been a nice weekend.
Yeah, you see some interesting names get thrown out there, but my weekend's been okay.
Yeah.
I saw Willie Snead
All right.
on the field. Yeah.
Nice.
That was
Big
crazy.
2024.
Yep.
You know who else we saw on the field?
Who?
Matt Corral.
Yeah, did you see what happened?
Interception immediately.
We don't need to talk about what happened, you know. He's going to win the starting job eventually. I mean, it's kind of unfair. You know, they threw him out there. He had just gotten the call, and, you know, basically next day he's on the field. Probably didn't even have to learn the playbook.
That was actually the worst play I've ever seen in my life. He booted the wrong way off the play action. 2 receivers ran into each other down the field, and he got sacked in the end zone for a safety.
Like it's just like they don't even give him a chance, you know.
They signed him just to play a mean trick on him.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's so evil at this point that it has to be some sort of plot against.
Yeah, it's like a practical joke.
Bro lost a bet, and now he has to constantly get his hopes up.
Now he has to play for the Vikings.
Well, if he starts, he could get to throw to Justin Jefferson. So that would be great. But for now, he gets to throw to I don't even know who at this point. So
Jalen Naylor
breaks my heart. Jalen Naylor, man.
The other thing I'm doing, I'm preparing for the 32-person fantasy league, drafting tomorrow, ready for another season. I'm checking the trending up page for maybe some draft targets. Does Carson Steele move you guys?
Come on, man. I have secret deep sleepers, one of which I will reveal on this very podcast maybe a little bit later. If you yourself are in a 32-man league, I've got some names. I've got some names for you. I'm excited. 32-team league draft is going on its 3rd year now. I believe Sleeper doesn't even allow you to make 32-team leagues anymore, but you can renew 32-team leagues, and you can copy them. So I have the ability to still create new 32-team leagues.
There we go.
This year, because I said last year, I'm booting the bottom 4 so we can get like new people and like a. And Blaiden, you finished last because you weren't at the draft and then auto picked 3 quarterbacks in a row.
I set my cue.
And that is probably what cost you specifically, if we're being
drafting 3 quarterbacks. I was prepared to draft 3 quarterbacks. I was happy to draft 3 quarterbacks.
I just don't know if that like really makes sense. You're kind of like banking on people panicking and getting more value.
We can talk about the process and whether or not it was good action on my part. But it's a new season. It's a new opportunity for me to
get it all back.
Get it all back, make amends.
In the 32-team AAA league.
I just accepted the invite. I didn't realize the invites were on Sleeper.
It's all happening on Sleeper. Tight end premium. I think it's full point PPR, which maybe I might change. And bad kickers, of course.
Bad kickers.
So you got to watch out for that.
It's a rockin' league. I gotta give it that.
I'm excited about it. We got the Nerd Sesh guys in there too now. So it's gonna be a movie. I also
I'm looking at
a Reds game. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead. I have
dude, my anecdote sucks.
Okay. Well, I was just saying that I'm excited that the preseason games ended because now I get to look at the updated preseason passing EPA per dropback numbers.
Oh man, how bad are they?
Well, Easton Stick is the worst, followed by Mike White and Skylar Thompson, followed by Panthers quarterback Jack Plummer.
Shut up.
Michael Pratt is now in the bottom 10 with Taylor Heineke and Tommy DeVito. I'm excited for that to drop. And what are we talking about tonight? We waited to the end of all the preseason games. And I think the goal of this episode should just be to talk about legitimately anything that moved you, anything at all. It's preseason. There's a lot of games that come and go, and they're forgotten in history as having had nothing happen of significance at all. But as we work through these games, you know, was there just anything that stood out to you at all?
I got one right off the top for you.
Okay, good.
You've had Wendy's nugs dipped in sauce, but have you had them covered in sauce? Wendy's new saucy nugs take the crispy and spicy nugs you love and turn them up to 11. Choose between flavors like buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, or if you're really a heat seeker, try spicy ghost pepper. Only on Wendy's signature spicy nugs. I dare ya. That's 7 delicious ways to try the nugs you already love. Pick a flavor, grab some extra napkins, and prepare to nug like you've never nugged before. For a whole new way to nug, it's gotta be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's locations.
I'm pretty sure that Bucky Irving is going to actually be good. Watch him. He just doesn't look like a 2.8 RAS guy. He just doesn't look like a bad athlete out there, and he doesn't play like it. Maybe I'm wrong, and when it's the real NFL players, like, he just can't hack it. But I've watched a lot of different running backs, a lot of different low-end dudes, where it's like, yeah, they're all right, and yeah, they obviously, like, belong somewhere in the league and the depth charts. But Bucky has a different level of burst. He is still looking incredibly nimble and quick. He does a good job of, like, getting lateral, but then knowing when to be north-south. Like, he's bouncing it out with a purpose in a way that a lot of guys who are, like, dominant in college but then come to the NFL aren't, you know, because they think they can always go lateral all the time, and it's just not going to work at a higher level. Bucky doesn't have that problem. And even though he is smaller, he isn't getting tackled like he's the weakest player on the field. And I know statistically he's been incredibly good. This is on a very, very, very tiny sample size, but his missed tackle rate is fantastic. He's making plays out there. I think he should be, when I watch him versus, you know, Tucker, who's the other back in Tampa, I think it should be Irving as the number 2 back there. And I'd like to see him get a serious opportunity in the regular season. I think he is, like, really a playmaker. He's awesome.
I mean, when you're looking at the Tampa Bay backfield, yeah, it's not the best group of guys there anyway. So if he's going to get a shot, I mean, that's probably the best place for him to be.
I mean, I think I've watched a lot of backs, and he's moved me as much as anybody, at least preseason wise, of course.
Yeah. The Aaron Jones outcome is still on the table for him, you'd say?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, like you say, Blaiden, I mean, I don't think Rachaad White is guaranteed to be the starter there for, like, years and years and years.
Right.
I know he finished really high with what he was able to do in the receiving game, and he was a good receiver from last year. But when I was doing my fantasy rankings, the thing you kind of start to notice is if a running back gets a lot of hype and then tends to disappear out of nowhere, a lot of the times it is those inefficient runners who have a great PPR season, and then all of a sudden, not now that we're talking fantasy, but if he can offer more juice than Rachaad White on the ground, which isn't the hardest thing to do considering how Rachaad White's career has gone. Like, yeah, we could see a heavy dose of Irving. And I agree, Matt, I've liked him in the Tampa Bay running game. I've been watching Barton at center, one of my guys. He's looked very good, I think, so far. Shored up a questionable position for them after what's his name? The All-Pro Jensen kept getting hurt. So
Yes.
yeah, I think between Irving and Barton, we can expect the Buccaneers rushing attack to improve.
Yeah, I think getting more efficient rushing numbers as opposed to just good receiving, it just gives your offense more balance, even if like all the analytics will say that, well, the passing is better for your offense, but you need that balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're just going to be inefficient on the ground, but yeah, you can hit screens, like eventually it's like, well, we just don't need to put more than like 4 or 5 guys in the box, right? We can run like nickel and dime every play. We can drop 8 and we'll be fine. So it forces you to respect the run game to a degree, and I think that can be something that Bucky can provide.
Mm-hmm. Right, and I mean that's sort of the fantasy take that I was having 5 minutes ago, is that maybe not relevant Bucky Irving in like a regular fantasy league, but I wonder if Rachaad White, who is still taken very highly and is taken, I don't want to say exclusively because of like workload reasons, but largely because of workload reasons, considering that he was dead last and rushing yards over expected, according to Next Gen Stats last year. Now, that might be partially because I think being behind a bad offensive line, even though it's rushing yards expected, probably still doesn't help you, probably still makes it tough. And then they ran him a ton, so his total is probably going to go up. But I think Irving could cut in a little bit. I do. I think he's talented enough, and I'm really excited to watch him.
Looking at some stats, he's only been stopped for a negative play on 8% of rushes this preseason. Not out of very many, but that is an above average rate compared to everybody else in the preseason, when the lines are usually pretty bad and guys are being inefficient and getting hung up behind the line. Not really the case with Irving, but Sean Tucker, I mean, just looking at the box scores here, I don't know, statistically he looks quite good as well. So maybe the whole running back room is just like good now or something. That would be
I don't
nice.
know. I just like Irving for his rushing style largely.
Yeah.
And I think him not getting negative plays, it's like he's the type of guy, if I described him to you, you would think that he was really lateral, and he is, but he's incredibly decisive with how he does it. So I'm super high on him. And I'm really, really rooting for him because I was happy about him out of the draft. And if they want their running back to catch a lot of passes, I think Irving should be good for that. So I'm a fan. I think he can be a real playmaker, even if he isn't a crazy, crazy athlete.
Yeah. With that being said, it is preseason.
Well, yeah,
That's true.
So,
it is.
and if we're saying that, oh, well, actually all the running backs look good, well.
I've been a fan of Tristan Jackson, Minnesota's receiver, number 8. He is so far the preseason receptions yards leader. Ooh. And he had a really nice toe tap touchdown in the end zone. I think it was called a touchdown. I remember they were reviewing it, but I was already on to the next thing. But he was he caught the long bomb from McCarthy on the double move. He had that. Mm-hmm. He's just made a couple nice plays, and the wide receiver 3 spot after KJ Osborne went away is kind of wide open in Minnesota, and Jordan Addison is already banged up. It always feels like the Vikings have someone in the pipeline, though. For the past few years, like Diggs was a 5th-round pick, kind of showed out in the preseason, became a real guy. Same deal with Adam Thielen. Justin Jefferson was a first-rounder, obviously. But seeing a Vikings player do this kind of thing in the past has meant that like they actually could be regular season main characters as well. And from what I've seen from the Vikings offense so far, like Tristan Jackson legitimately seems like he could be next in line for that kind of thing. He's only been targeted 9 times, but has 7 receptions for 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, like 6 first downs. He's been incredible thus far. So he's definitely somebody I'm keeping an eye on as we're just kind of going through smaller names that we think could make an impact.
You know, Theo, I think it's interesting. You mentioned that Tristan Jackson is the leader in receiving yards so far this preseason. He's actually tied for first with a certain Cincinnati legend
Trey Tucker.
Bang.
He's been nice as well. Minshew was named the starter today. Minshew, he hit him downfield, and Tucker did the thing where he was looking over one shoulder and then turned fully around and tracked it over the other shoulder, which I always think is crazy impressive when guys are able to kind of do both, and then like totally laid out for it, hands out in front of him. Like, he's been a really nice deep threat so far. So yeah, Trey Tucker also good player.
We talked about this a little bit before. What are your guys' thoughts on Minshew being named the starter?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I actually think if Aiden O'Connell can't straight up, like, as a young guy, get the start over Minshew, you know, I understand there's some frustration, like that, like the logic here is O'Connell is not that far off from Minshew. Okay, fair. And O'Connell is young. You might as well give the young guy a shot. I don't think that's crazy logic. But O'Connell is also not a guy who was drafted so highly that he's just going to get the, well, you're young, so we're starting you because we want to give you a chance, because you have to get a chance. And to be completely honest with you, like, I don't think he's fantastic. I don't think he's particularly good under pressure. And I don't think he has a particularly high ceiling, because he doesn't seem like a guy who's ever really going to be able to create a ton out of structure. I think Minshew is, like, you know, I don't want to say comparable, but like, I would take Minshew now. And I think the Raiders, like it or not, are trying to be competitive this year. They're not saying, well, we went out and spent all this big money in free agency, and we've got all these other guys. We still got Devontae Adams, you know, Max Crosby, but we have to start our 5th-round rookie quarterback, because why not? Because the season's a bust. Like, they're just not going to think like that. Unless you're completely in a rebuild, and they just decided not to be by not taking a quarterback. People are going to clown them and be like, they're so stupid for starting Minshew, and, like, fair enough, I guess. But my read on it is that they just weren't in a position to take a QB. I mean, they would have had to trade up for a guy who, unless they got up to 3, frankly, they would have been trading up for a guy who I didn't think was good value, the other 3 guys, even where they were taken straight up, and it would have been very expensive. And it just comes down to there being more places that need a quarterback than there are, like, reasonable, sensible quarterback options. So I think them not falling into the trap of, like, well, if we don't get a quarterback, we don't have a quarterback, so there'd be no quarterback, and just trying to hit some singles here before that. We've talked about this a million times.
Yeah,
totally makes sense. But the reality of that is that then Gardner Minshew's your starter. There is no doing that and then, you know.
Yeah, I feel like we've been mostly positive about the Raiders offseason, even though the outlook of their season in 2024 mostly looks negative.
We have.
But that is improvement, because normally we're looking at a Raiders offseason and we're like, man, they reached on a draft prospect again.
Right.
It didn't pan out again. So, you know, you're right, Matt, for them to not fall into that quarterback trap, to not do anything egregious this offseason. They got Christian Wilkins. Like, they've made improvements to the team. You know, we can't also ask them to go out and find a good quarterback this offseason.
They should trade Adams at the deadline, though.
Yes.
They should.
Yeah, Minshew versus O'Connell, funny quarterback battle, I think, because the two of them approached playing quarterback so differently this preseason. Minshew was totally bombs away. Like, he went deep on like 3/4 of his passes. He completed less than 50% of his passes this preseason, but he tried it, man, and he hit some crazy throws. Like against the Vikings, he had like a crosser that he layered over nicely. Like, he was hitting some real big time throws with no consistency whatsoever. But Aiden O'Connell is a statue in the pocket. He just moves less than I'd like to see any starter move these days. Like, there's a level of speed and maneuverability that you need to have to start for me. Like, if you can't, like, create a little bit, like, I wouldn't be that interested in you at all. And, like, Aiden O'Connell completed a healthy amount of passes this preseason, but, like, they're all underneath, right? And he takes somebody, like, some really bad sacks. So it's Minshew does as well, but it's like, okay, like, at least Minshew piloted a team that was a game away from the playoffs last year, and like will try to hit some cool stuff. Like Aiden O'Connell, I don't know.
Aiden O'Connell's sacks are worse than Minshew's. They are. Because they just feel like such low effort, like to even try to avoid it. It's just like, I don't know. At least Minshew
he's
tries.
up there with some of the least mobile quarterbacks in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
Speaking of quarterbacks who are not that mobile, but a guy that I actually, maybe this isn't even a hot take, Tanner McKee definitely should be the Eagles' backup, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Pickett.
I mean, and that's
That's
a two-part take. Yeah.
The two-part take is that Pickett should be
The
not
two-part take is that
QB2.
Pickett shouldn't be, and McKee, give him hell, man. I like McKee a little bit, dude. McKee is willing to throw a little deep and a little outside the numbers, and he's at least decisive. He'll at least make a decision, and he's got a decent arm. Like, I remember he was getting hyped by PFF at one point as a first-round pick. Do you remember this? He was like 30-something.
He was on the mock draft simulator very high.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's O'Connell levels of stature, but he's a quick decision maker, and he's got a big arm. He did miss a handful of throws. Like, I kind of got hyped watching him a little bit, and then it's like then he started with some misses that shouldn't have been
as
there.
It goes in the preseason.
As it goes,
right.
But he's not super panicky either. So I think there's a few things there where it's like, all right, this guy can be a reasonable backup, and then you contrast that with Pickett, who clearly is a bigger name, but is just, I mean, like you were about to say, Theo, just can't hang in the pocket, and that's a lot of quarterbacks that you watch in preseason where it's like, okay, well, why can't this guy make it at this level? It's like, well, he just can't hang in a pocket this physical with these type of dudes bearing down on him. Panics too easily, which is reasonable. It's understandable. Certainly how I would be, but right, like I get it.
We don't want the Matthew Spanauer comp behind.
Right. It's like if I'm sitting there like, yeah, that's what I would have did. Not great.
There's a backup I like. I don't know if you have anything more to say about McKee, but really. I'm Chris Oladipoon FC. I'm going to be the chairman. He's the Chiefs' third string behind Wentz, and when he comes in, it's like watching Mahomes again. It's like you get your Wentz break, and then the real fireworks start to fly again with Oladipoon. He has bailed out like backwards, turned his back to the defense, tried to like run around so many times when I've seen him. And when he gets sacked, he always hits the like underhand as he's going down out of bounds. Like, I'm like, okay. As long as you did the underhand thing, like we're all good here. But he's also like made more plays than I've expected. So he's one of those guys where it's like, he's probably not good. Like he's probably terrible, but he is fun. And that is so key for preseason. Like I would take him as the Packers QB2 so fucking fast. Like this guy, I watched Michael Pratt and it was boring, right? Like I watched Jarrett Stidham and the game is boring. It's like, they're just doing nothing. Oladipoon, must see third string TV. A little Mahomey-esque for sure. So I was enjoying watching him. And then I enjoyed watching Xavier Worthy. He looked fast. Did you see that touchdown where he was wide open? And the behind the back pass from Mahomes. I was thinking about this today. What if this version of the Chiefs, this year 3, this three-peat attempt, is they just go like all out with the laterals and stuff? They have nothing else to work on in practice. Like, what if they just go full on, break the league, record-setting laterals, behind the back passes, like really messing with this fabric of the sport type thing? That's what crossed my mind when I saw the behind the back pass.
They clearly love laterals. I mean,
they do.
Something about them. They want to so bad. They're always doing laterals.
They understand the potential of how it could fuck everything. Like if you throw it to Kelsey, like what if he throws it all the way across the field? Like how they're clearly like kind of aware of what they have and like the potential impact of it, but they've never really made it a part of their game plan. As soon as I saw that behind the back stuff, I thought about all the laterals we see from them. And it's like, what if they just say like, look, we're old. Travis Kelce is a 35-year-old tight end, man, but he can get open.
Yeah.
What if we like him and Tony what if he just gets he finds the space in the zone and then gets it to Tony to pick up all the yak?
Are you suggesting a hook and ladder?
This is
like as a reasonable like down to down play.
I like that,
yes.
dude. I mean, there's no player who can get the ball better than Travis Kelce. I mean, he's right there with anybody, and there's nobody who needs to get the ball more than Kadarius Toney.
Right.
You could combine them.
Exactly. Like just have them in a stack and have them run the exact same route with like Tony a little bit behind or design the mesh specifically so Travis has to pitch it back to Tony. He's like, the glider planes that have no engine, but they get flown up into the sky by another plane and then like just let go and people glide until they hit the ground. Like that's going to be the Kelce Tony dynamic.
I'm gonna draw this up. I'm drawing this up right now. Okay, on the right side you have Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy. On the left side you have Kadarius Toney all by himself. Okay, you have Xavier Worthy on the outside. He's gonna run a deep skinny post. All right, skinny post. Just clear out that safety, and then we're gonna have Travis Kelce run like a 10 to 12 yard dig. And then on the backside with Tony, we'll have him run shallower, about 7 yards, but we'll have him do like the Jerry Jeudy thing where he like does that like fake out route. It's like an inverted
and then he
whip
slips
route
and falls
almost.
down, and people stop.
No, he doesn't.
Dude, that's a good idea.
But it delays the routes a little bit. It delays the routes a little bit. So Travis Kelce catches it, and then he can pitch it to Tony, or he can keep going. Or if Worthy does end up breaking open down the field, you just hit him.
Yeah. I seriously think that we could see more. Like maybe it won't be exactly Kadarius Toney because I do think that he's fighting to make the team. But I do think that we could see more laterals from the Chiefs this year than like any other team in history. Like maybe that's just what the old Chiefs look like. They're just like, fuck it. We'll get Travis the ball and someone else will get the yak. Like,
I don't see that. When Rashee Rice
it seems like a good idea.
When Rashee Rice comes back, he'll fill that.
I don't think he's getting suspended, dude.
You don't think he's going to he hasn't been suspended yet.
He hasn't been suspended yet.
I just keep assuming he's going to get like 6 games, but like nothing's happened.
Nothing has happened, and there is no court date like in sight. So it's like if nothing has happened now, like what's going to change? It seems like the timeline of this trial is kind of exceeding the length of the NFL regular season. So the Chiefs may have pulled some strings, or they're just the luckiest team ever. So I don't know. You need this kind of luck to be a dynasty. Like Tom Brady always had kind of crazy luck, didn't he? Not with suspensions, though, I guess.
But hey,
no, I think. I mean, I know you're just kidding. I think when you're a dynasty, every good thing that happens to you seems luckier.
A little bit. Mm-hmm. And when you're bad, everything bad that happens to you feels like the world is against you.
I think that's part of. Well, I mean, that's a totally different conversation. Why do the Chiefs seem lucky? I don't actually think that they are. They lost,
definitely. Yeah.
I mean, they had like both of their tackles injured for a Super Bowl, and like that completely lost them the game. And then they were offside by like an inch, and that cost them the AFC Championship game. They're not actually lucky. It's just that they're so good that they always win and always take advantage of like every opportunity that they get. That's the same reason why the Patriots seemed so lucky, and every great team seems so lucky. But that's another conversation.
I think it is. And like with the Chiefs, I remember it was this Super Bowl, right? That Mecole Hardman fumbled out of the back of the end zone, and like the 49ers got it at their 20.
Right.
Do you remember that happening? Like, yes, who knows if they're more or less lucky than the average team? I guess I can say it, but that certainly feels lucky. But I don't think Rashee Rice is headed towards a suspension anytime soon. Maybe it happens at the worst time. Like, what if he gets sentenced like the day before the Super Bowl or something? But it doesn't seem like anything like that is on the horizon.
To get sentenced the day before AFC Championship game against the Browns, and then win that game. And someone drops a pass, and we're like, man, Rashee Rice would have caught that.
DTR leads his team to the Super Bowl.
It's inevitable, man. It's inevitable.
I want to talk about another AFC champion, not AFC champion, AFC North. Holy cow! Couldn't be farther from the AFC championships, as it seems right now. The Pittsburgh Steelers.
We got to have this conversation.
They have had quite the preseason in a bad way, I would say. Let's start with their quarterback situation. We saw a little bit of Russell Wilson on Saturday. We've seen Wilson not Wilson. Jesus, it's late, everybody. We're warming up. We've seen Fields both games. Who do you think should have the edge in terms of the starting job?
I don't know, bro. Like, it's pretty even here, man. The problem is that, like, neither of them feel like they get the ball out very quickly or, like, don't take, like, bad negatives. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And on top of that, like Fields, I was watching him, and the read that I got from that game is, like, he kept going underneath. And then eventually it was clear, like, okay, well, he has to take some sort of shot with more depth because Bill's defense just kept playing more down and down and down. Mm-hmm. And then he had a couple, one of which was like a very cool play on the sideline, but really was almost intercepted and went through a guy's hands. And then the other one was way out. He did have the great deep shot over the middle. That was a good catchable throw, and the receiver jumped too early, and that was a big discussion. And I don't want to hate on him too much, because then you'll go online and you'll see, like, every sack he takes, someone's like, of course, classic Fields. And then you see someone post a screenshot, and it's like cropping out a safety or whatever. So it's like, he should have made this throw. And it's like, all right, all that stuff. And obviously, like, when he runs, he adds an element that Russ doesn't. But it would be really cool if he could add that rushing element and maybe go underneath. Maybe he's just not going to get through every read and hit every throw. But if he just wouldn't hold the ball so long and, like, disrupt the timing. At the same time, though, I mean, I think it's fair to ask what your ceiling with Wilson is specifically. And obviously he's not going to add the floor that Fields does rushing-wise. Mm-hmm. But I'm still up in the air on what they should do.
I'd have it be Fields at this point. Like, Russ hasn't practiced. He comes into the preseason game and just looks, like, bad. He's taking sacks at the same rate Fields is. He's not offering you the same kind of athleticism. These past 2 seasons, his time to throw, like, if Fields is 99th percentile, Russ is 98th percentile, right? It's not like he's giving you much better timing or access to the middle of the field, because Fields doesn't have that. Like, I don't know. He's fumbling at the same rate. He's throwing picks at the same rate. Like, he's taking sacks at the same rate, basically, or there's not a discernible difference. And it's like, why not go with the guy with more potential if they both have the same negatives? Like, what is the vet getting you in this case? Like, I don't know. I would go with Fields. And I know they said when they traded for Russ that he was the starter, he was going to be it. Like, there's not going to be a controversy. And really, it's been kind of quiet this whole training camp because Russ has been hurt. And it's like, why did he even say that in the first place? Like, go with the guy who's going to be able to give you more explosive plays, like, one way or another.
Yep. I agree. I think it should be Fields. I think you just go all in on the running. Just say, we're going to put Justin Fields at quarterback. We're going to have Jalen Warren and Najee Harris in the backfield at the same time. And we're just going to run triple option. And then every once in a while, we'll throw it up to George Pickens.
Yeah. And what other playmakers do you have? Exactly. Like, Fields' rushing threat is your wide receiver too. Like,
Yeah.
Kind of. Like, you only have Pickens, who made an incredible catch, by the way. Russ did go deep to him, and he made this, like, one-handed catch falling out of bounds. And it got called incomplete. I thought he got 2 toes down and kind of had control of it as soon as it hit his hand. Like, Pickens, that was incredible. Hats off. If we're talking about good preseason performances, like, that was one of the best catches I've seen in Pickens' his whole career, and he's had some great ones. But at any rate, enough about Pickens. Like, Pickens can offer you a big play, and who else besides Fields? Because Russ can't do it with his legs anymore. Like, he can still scramble and stuff, but, like, he's not he's Fields, not, right? And now Jalen Warren has a hamstring issue, which is one of the most re-injurable things. Like, as this offense is looking kind of like more and more downtrodden, I think it becomes more and more important that you inject it with some sort of juice. And I know Fields has his flaws, but he's still young.
Yeah, I think I can get down on the start Field stuff, not necessarily off of long-term potential, but just based off of the fact that his rushing ability would be the biggest superpower the offense would have. And does Russ provide you enough, like, great play within structure, I guess, or open up more things to you than Fields does as a vet? And I feel like the answer is not really. I would take a vet who could create less if it opened up a little bit more things through the air or kept me on track a little bit more. But Russ isn't like that. And then the cherry on top is that maybe Fields improves during the season. He's probably not ever going to be a franchise guy, but can he get, decently better? Like, yeah, of course. Everybody can keep improving. So I think I can get down with the Fields take.
There's just something magical about being at a live event, whether it's the energy of a packed stadium, the thrill of a concert, or the laughter at a comedy show. There's truly nothing like it. I remember catching a game last year, one of those last-minute decisions where everything just fell into place. The roar of the crowd, the buzz in the air. It's an experience you just can't replicate anywhere else. And I'm really looking forward to making even more memories this year. That's why I'm so excited to tell you about Game Time, the app that's been a game changer for me. They've had this new feature called Game Time Picks, and trust me, it's a lifesaver. It takes all the hassle out of finding tickets by showing you the best deals on the best seats. So no more endless scrolling or second guessing. Just the other day, I was looking for tickets to an upcoming concert, one I've been dying to see, and I decided to check out Game Time Picks, and let me tell you, the deals they had were unreal. I found a super deal that was just too good to pass up, and within minutes, I had my seats locked in. The app even let me preview the view from my seats before I bought them, so I knew exactly what to expect. But what really impressed me was with how easy the whole process was. The app is super intuitive, and with features like all-in pricing, there were no surprise fees at checkout. What you see is what you get. Plus, with their lowest price guarantee, I knew I was getting the best possible deal. And if anything happened, like the event got canceled, they got you covered with their flexible customer service policy. So if you're anything like me and you want to take the guesswork out of buying tickets, you've got to check out Game Time. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code BLAIDENK for $20 off your first purchase. That's, of course, BLAIDENK for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
The real question now that we're talking through this is, who is their third string? Because maybe it's neither of them. Oh, it's Kyle Allen. Never mind.
Yeah, let's.
Oh, shout out.
Panthers legend.
Oh, yeah.
Panthers legend.
I was thinking Washington. He did play.
No. Well, he's kind of a Ron Rivera legend. If we're
that's a good point.
Honest.
That's a good point.
Ron Rivera.
Wow, he did start like 13, 14 games for Carolina. He has some serious reps under his belt.
Now, how good were those reps?
It was pretty rough.
It's pretty rough.
He took a lot of sacks, if I remember, and threw a lot of interceptions.
Did you guys watch Daniel Jones's performance?
I did.
Can we talk about
that?
Can we talk about how I asked this question on Twitter? I'll propose it to you guys too. Do the Giants have the worst quarterback room in football? I mean, I think it comes down to like them, the Raiders, and the Broncos.
Who's their backup?
DeVito
Drew Lock.
and Drew Lock.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that worse than like?
When you take into account Daniel Jones' contract,
Are we?
I think it.
I don't think you even need to take into account his contract.
When
It
you take
doesn't-
into
it-
account
that
his
doesn't-
contract, sure. If you don't, then it's like honestly, it's like on par with like a lot of other quarterback rooms. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm actually thinking about this today. This is off topic. I think there's a lot of teams that like really suck this year. No, there's kind of like usually there's only like a couple of teams that feel really hopeless going into the year. Now there's kind of like 7 maybe. That might be too high, but I did watch
I made a
this
list.
Giants Daniel Jones performance. I mean, just a couple of like boneheaded holding the ball too long, trying to create something when it's like, dude, you just no way is that going to happen. And like, and in the back of your own end zone as like a year 6 guy now.
He was drafted
is-
2018.
Entering year 6, yeah.
Yeah, just like ridiculous, dude. And we knew, I mean, this isn't any new information. Like Daniel Jones is not the Giants' long-term guy. But the fact that he's getting $40 million is ridiculous. However, I mean, unless you have something else to say about Jones.
Oh, I just wanted to go into more detail about his pick six, just because I thought it was so fucking funny. Like, it's a flood concept, right? He's looking down the field, the intermediate route, like Neighbors gets hung up, and then there's the underneath thing. But, and it was all covered. But they ran play action before it, and the defensive end like totally crashed inside. Like there was just such a soft edge. And you said he tried to create and couldn't. He had like a golden opportunity to roll out that entire time, like to the side that this entire flood concept was breaking even. Like just go that way and like buy yourself a little time. At worst, nothing comes open and you throw it away. He was simultaneously a statue and someone who like tried to create and couldn't at the same play. Like, bro. and then he comes to the flat and it's like back shoulder exists. You can throw it at his feet. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing that he could do is like right at the last moment when he was getting taken down, there was like a running back or a tight end. It was a tight end right in front of him. Like just hand it to him. He could have reached out and handed it to the tight end as he was getting taken down slowly. He could have dropped it and there would have been an eligible receiver in the area. Like, how does your brain misfire that bad in the preseason of year 6, like you're saying, Matt? And then he almost threw a pick to Stingley on the first play where Stingley just like
that was
stopped.
A ridiculous jump by Stingley, though. I have no idea how he knew to jump that.
I think he was reading Daniel Jones's footwork instead of the receiver, because the receiver hadn't settled down yet, but Jones hit the top of his drop with eyes over there, and I think as soon as he saw his feet stop, he stepped forward. I think he was reading Jones's footwork instead of Neighbors there. It was a ridiculous jump by Stingley.
And
the catch was ridiculous.
On.
Yeah, he did.
And it was
one where
he took over a go down the sideline.
Yeah,
and just like
really good.
He's looking extremely nice after the second half of last season. Like the plays he's making are the best of any corner. Like,
right,
he might be the best.
Incredibly big year.
Yeah,
yeah,
he might be the best.
That's exactly how I felt watching that. I'm like, okay, this guy's.
I was feeling very justified in my DB draft after that.
Yeah, seriously, he may have cooked. He's going to be special. Him and Sauce, what a year. I mean, at the top, like those two are going to be. All, like,
even if
it wouldn't surprise me if those two are all pro.
It's okay. No, I
mean, right now they
Neighbors.
have. Yes.
Neighbors is obviously so good.
His catch was
up against
unbelievable.
I wish he hadn't fumbled that one he had, because he cooked Stingley. He had him, and Stingley didn't really make the play to break that up. Neighbors just sort of bobbled it on accident.
I don't know what he was doing when he went up for that. Like he thought he was he wanted his Odell moment.
Weird.
When I played football in middle school, the coach used to always say, if you can catch it with one hand, you can catch it with two. And that's what the Malik Neighbors drop reminded me of. He like kind of reached up one hand. I'm like, I think maybe you could have gotten your second one around there, bro. But at any rate, he more than made up for it later.
He more than made up for it. I'm feeling good about picking Neighbors as wide receiver through 2 preseason games. No hate to Rome Odunze. Neighbors, he is special. I mean, even on a couple of those catches, just the way he's able to go up and play the football, it just looks so easy for him. And he looks so fast out there and so deadly in and out of his breaks. I mean, you can go to him. He just seems like a threat in every way that you could be. He's brutal after the catch. He's, again, brutal in and out of his breaks. And he can go up and play the football with anybody. Stingley did get him and almost had that interception, but really that was more, like you said, Stingley reading Jones. Yeah. And just a great play by Stingley rather than Neighbors doing something bad. And then Neighbors went right back at him and got him. And if we're talking about Stingley making just some unbelievable plays, Neighbors looks like he absolutely is legit comp with him in his second preseason game. Like, I'm super, super excited about him. I know, you know, the conversation is probably going to be like he doesn't have a quarterback for year one, and fair enough. But if you're the Giants, at least you feel like we got a guy, right? Because they clearly did.
Yeah, he's got the goods. That release on Stingley was awesome. He came to almost a full stop. It was a very long release. He like really was varying his tempo, like starting out and then slowing down almost all the way, and then he's speeding up again. And even a guy like Stingley, how do you keep up with that versus a guy like Neighbors, that kind of slow and then acceleration? Like when you're reacting to such severe movements and changes of pace, like how as a corner can you possibly react fast enough to keep up with Neighbors? And Stingley couldn't do it, and if he couldn't, who knows who could, right? Like there's not a lot of corners better and more athletic than Stingley, like you're saying. So yeah, man, and that catch on the outbreaker, I thought Daniel Jones threw that super late. He took a hitch, and then he took another hitch, and then on the third hitch, Neighbors had already broken toward the sideline, head around, looking at Jones. The ball hadn't been thrown yet, and it was thrown a bit behind him, and he kind of went back up over the corner behind him, played it on the sideline. Again, you mentioned this earlier.
It
looked easy.
Like it wasn't like a challenge for him, even though, like, really that play did not come together very well, outside of the fact that it was thrown to Neighbors, and that was good enough. I think he is going to get a ridiculous amount of targets. And on that bad interception that Jones had, I really think that he was kind of just like sitting there waiting for Neighbors to come open. Like he was just waiting for Neighbors to sort of.
And Neighbors kind of did.
Out. And he did. If
he kind of did.
Rolled out, it would have worked.
Yeah.
So I mean, I expect Neighbors to. I mean, I don't know.
There's two things that can
Neighbors to clear like 150 targets, dude. Like they're gonna throw to him all day.
Yeah, the only thing that can get Neighbors is throwing his hands up when he's triple covered and the MetLife turf. those are your two biggest obstacles right now, is triple coverage and the cement under the grass. So
I do have one more note from this game. I would like to congratulate Theo Johnson, number 47, on being the first player to attempt a hurdle while wearing 47.
Is that true?
Is that true? Yes, it is true. I don't know. What number is the Houston Texans fullback?
I don't know. I was
he might have this in him.
The closer to the line of scrimmage that a hurdle attempt happens, the funnier that it is. And honestly, maybe the farther back in general, because the farther in the backfield you are and you're trying to hurdle somebody. And I believe Theo Johnson was like 2 yards. It's like, I don't know. But shout out to him. I mean, we liked him coming out of the draft, but I just thought that was so funny when it's like, who's attempting a hurdle? Because I didn't have the audio on. I didn't know it was Theo Johnson at first.
Yeah. He got killed doing that hurdle. He absolutely ate shit halfway into the air and came down really hard. It was a good job by that safety running the alley on that play, I think, if I remember correctly. Andrew Beck, the Houston Texans fullback, number 47, how will you respond? Because I think he has a hurdle within him, but he has to get the ball because he's a fullback. Do I have anything else to say about this game? Go ahead, Blaiden.
I was just going to say, Matt, you talked about how crazy at the top, Sauce and Stingley. But in this draft class, looks like it could be pretty crazy at the top. We talked about Caleb Williams last episode. Drake Maye, though. Drake Maye had some moments this week for the Patriots where he was looking very, very nice. His pocket movement is so special. It's so good. Going from watching the Raiders and Aiden O'Connell to watching Drake Maye, it's so refreshing to see a quarterback feel pressure and slide in a direction that actually buys him more time and then deliver a beautiful ball. And he did it multiple times.
Compared to Brissett, even, I thought it was notable.
Yeah.
Like Brissett had some moments where he tried to climb the pocket and just doesn't quite have the full commitment to it. I feel like he hits the top of his drop and he's kind of creeping forward slowly with Maye. Like he just looks more comfortable, man. He just is he looks more comfortable. His movements are more decisive, definitely, as I guess is what I'm looking for, and kind of what you're saying, Blaiden. And that first 3rd down and 5 that he hit, where he checked the front side concepts, like moved right back to the dig and hit that, that I thought was beautiful. I sent you guys the tweet that said that looked a little slow. I've yet to see any of the slowness that people talk about with Drake Maye in terms of him doing anything. Like,
wasn't that the big criticism of him coming out of the draft too? Is that his release is too slow?
Release slow, like timing a little bit off. Like I just don't see that with him at all. Like I thought his timing on everything was pretty perfect in the week 2 preseason game. He did miss some throws to the flats. Certainly, like he had that Kayshon Boutte had an Odell of a pass for no reason. Like that was annoying. But outside of that, like Maye can kind of do whatever.
He put a go ball like on the money. I mean, the receiver would have been out of bounds. Like it would have probably been like an illegal touching anyway. But
the crossers,
that ball was perfect.
It was, but the crosser was open behind it, was what I had in my notes. Like the tight end coming.
Oh, was it? I didn't.
Yeah, and Javon Baker is not looking good, I'm afraid. He got totally crowded to the sideline.
I wasn't going to come after your guy, but yeah.
Oh, even on that dig, I was like, why are you jumping, dude? Like he jumped and double caught it. Like he just looks uncoordinated. I guess I thought it was. Right. I thought he was just playing loose at UCF. Like he definitely had a unique kind of running style and route running style, and I just thought he was a loose, tall athlete. He gets to the NFL, and I'm like, okay, this guy has 2 left feet. Apparently, he's doesn't look very coordinated. He's making strange decisions.
Like I think about that one catch that Mengo didn't make last year. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yes.
That is what that's not what I always think. I put it into that category of just bad body control or whatever you want to call it specifically. So I 100% agree. Did we talk about this last episode? Maybe Maye, when should he start? I'm ready to say let's skip the whole 4-week charade and just let's put him out there week 1.
Might as well.
I understand the idea is do you want to put him in a situation where the weapons aren't that great? And it's maybe not, but are you going to hold him out for the entire year? No, of course not. I mean, this is and guys have been in bad, not great situations and still been able to learn and grow as a player. Obviously, you need another piece there if you're the Patriots, but I don't think you should not play your guy for the sake of protect. It's not that bad. Damn,
Yeah.
So he's just better than Brissett, I think. And
right.
Even if you think Brissett maybe had a bad game and is a little bit better, it's what are we doing that for? Because how the Brissett stuff's gonna go. Brissett, fine, journeyman guy. No disrespect. Put him on an offense that doesn't have a lot of juice. It's going to look ugly. And by week 4, people are going to be calling for Maye. And it's I just don't think there's any reason to, do that to him. So Maye can get less reps? Nah, fuck that. I think that's a ridiculous idea. And it just comes down to, Brissett Brissett is a bridge quarterback, the fact that you know he's a bridge quarterback means that won't work. Like, he won't be in there for super long, and then you just put in Maye whenever you think he's ready. It's like, no, you're going to have to put in Maye when Brissett, like, crumbles in a game or has, like, a big stinker and you've got the third overall pick sitting on your bench, so it's not acceptable, you know? So I don't know. I think you got to put in Maye.
No, I 100% agree. I think if you are a quarterback coming into a situation where it's a playoff team and you were a late pick or a playoff team traded up to get you, and you sit and you just kind of seep in the culture, and I think that's a lot more acceptable than like this whole, like you say, this whole bridge quarterback thing where there's a free agent signed off the street competing with your top tier rookie. It's like in that situation, the success rate of actually keeping the quarterback on the bench the whole year is zero. It's zero.
It never, ever works. It legitimately, I'm trying to think of any time it's ever happened. I think we've talked about this.
You're the lead. I think of you as one of the leading experts on the bridge quarterback discussion, because I know you've looked into it.
And it not only does it never work, it never works like immediately. Like it doesn't even get to like week 8 usually. Yeah. And part of that, honestly, I think maybe I'm skewed a little bit because, like, I think Tyrod Taylor has been in that situation and then gotten injured a couple of times. Like, I think he did.
There's a conspiracy
both
among
Herbert and Baker, is what it is.
Yes. There's a conspiracy among Browns fans that Tyrod was not actually hurt and they faked his injury.
Oh,
to put
it was
in
a
Baker.
concussed thing. I think they were probably just extra careful with him. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think we've seen enough to say, yes, keeping the guy on the bench for a year or two is a good strategy if you can do it, but you have to actually be able to do it. You can't be like, all right, here's our plan. We're going to go find we're going to find 2 quarterbacks in one offseason. It's like, no, you're not. You hopefully found one, and it was probably the guy you drafted in the top 10 or whatever, and you should play that guy. So
yeah,
I always think it's so funny. It's like, and I think we've talked about this before. We have the idea of the bridge quarterback, but it's not a guy it's never a guy that's been on the team. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, why are we bringing in like a free agent to mentor a rookie quarterback in this situation? Like, neither of you know the playbook. They're going to be learning just as much as you.
I don't have a problem with Brissett signing in general. I like bringing in, a guy right. Start the guy.
And
Brissett to find backup, but like he's the backup, like that's what he is.
Yeah, Maye is not the type of quarterback either that needs to even sit. Like his tape at UNC is really good. And I think his preseason tape showed that, like, timing, he can get to the third read, he can get to the backside. Like, it's all the pocket movement, it's all there. Like, what is there for him to learn? Accuracy. And if you're going into year 2, like, imagine yourself in a year. You're Gerard Mayo in 1 year. You're going into year 2 with you as a coach. Would you rather have a full season working with Maye or no time at all? Like, I'd rather have the full season. Like, we're in a routine. We've figured out what works, what doesn't, what you do like, what you don't like. You already know that stuff going into year 2. Instead of it being brand new all again, like, what is the advantage there for the future? Yeah, I don't know. Whereas with Rodgers, or if you have Alex Smith even, I could see saying, like, okay, we made the playoffs. Mahomes learned everything. Like, this is not going to be the conversation. So, yeah, I think Maye should definitely start. But how do you guys think the Tyson Bagent versus Caleb Williams decision should go?
Matt, you're muted, Matt. But I'm sure you're spitting.
I was bringing up Caleb Williams' pink phone for the 5th time. My fault. It really wasn't good podcasting at all.
How many times do we
100? It just kills me, dude. It's just like, I'm sorry. It's such a ridiculous thing that people got
his phone
heated up pink. About, and it's like so.
His phone is. I don't
pink.
know. His nails are
pink.
painted.
And pink's a girl color. So what's up with that?
Pink.
Yeah, Caleb looks pretty special. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, it's just, I think people see the backyardy stuff still. Like, you still see like a few like negative comments or like, well, this guy did this too, and it's like, dude, it's just different with Caleb, man. Like, he just has the arm talent to pull off a lot more stuff and the athleticism straight up to pull out a lot more stuff. And like, not only did he scramble and turn around, but then he made like an amazing throw. Not a throw to a guy who had gotten wide open on a scramble drill, but like a guy who was covered and it was down the field, and he like dropped that thing in there, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's totally ridiculous. And then he had several plays. Like he did it like 3 times that drive. I know it's preseason, but man, he's phenomenal.
The ankle breaker and then the throw to Rome that ended up being out of bounds, but it was like by this much.
Did you guys see the
was on a rope?
Yeah. And did you see the post he threw it got called DPI? It was a little bit earlier in the game. He threw it to Tyler Scott. That throw was so money, and the DB needed to get the DPI. Otherwise, it would have been a huge highlight and a 60-yard gain and all that. And sorry for talking over you, Blaiden, but yeah, the scramble it was a little Brock Purdy-esque when he had that incompletion to Ayuk in the corner of the end zone. Yeah, man. With Caleb, there's a play that I remember from college. I think it was against some nowhere school, like maybe San Jose State or something like that. But it was an incredible play. He scrambled out and was running like full speed at the sideline. And an inch before he went out of bounds, he threw it down the sideline, kept it in bounds, led his receiver perfectly, threw a strike. And the thing I always remember as I slowed that play down was how he was running so fast and there was so much movement, and his head just stayed perfectly still. And that's something I feel like you can see with a lot of top athletes in any sport, is like they can be running full speed, they can be cutting in and out, they can be running and hurtling like as fast as they can, and it's like if their head stays perfectly still, it's a small thing, but I think it goes to show just how coordinated they are. And like I think about it in the animal kingdom. Like there's some hunting videos I watch of like birds of prey and shit, and like their head standing still as their body moves around, and it's like, wow, that's amazing how laser focused they can be and how coordinated they can be. And I think when I noticed that with Caleb, I thought it was just a good way to, even if it's not true, I'm kind of seeing things. It's a good way to kind of describe his game, where it's like whatever is going on, like the brain is steady, the eyes are steady, the things that are important are steady, as chaotic as his style is.
Yeah.
But
and the throws are good. And the throw, like...
Can I be a hater for a second?
Oh.
0-0 at the end of the first quarter against the Bengals backups. It's not all sunshines and rainbows. They had their starting offensive line in there when he was hitting these throws. He was rolling out backwards before the throw to Rome with like no pressure. Not that was bad pocket movement. It's just like he had all damn day with all, like Darnell Wright was out there and all the guys. I was like, okay, these throws are crazy. Obviously they are. But it's still 0-0, and there's 4 minutes left in the second quarter of this preseason half. And you've got Rome out there, and you've got, like, they didn't have DJ Moore, but they had Rome, and they had Fat Keenan Allen, and they had all their linemen. I'm like, okay, you're playing the Bengals backups.
Oh, my God. Keenan Allen.
DJ didn't play? I thought he did.
DJ played early, but like eventually he was out at that point. I can't say all the starters were in there when he started hitting these crazy throws, because I don't think Keenan and DJ were anymore. But the linemen and Rome and we're definitely out there. So I was a little bit like, okay, let's. No, I don't think Swift played the whole game, but I was a little bit like, okay, I'm moved by Caleb throwing the ball, but I don't know how moved I am by the Bears overall if they were struggling a little bit in the first quarter, So I was like, okay.
I know DJ and Rome are them. Outside of that, there's stuff that I think has hope, or, we'll see how Keenan is this year, and we'll see.
I'm concerned about Keenan. Together. He's washed for real this time.
Keenan hater. I feel you. Like, he definitely did look slow. I saw that clip of him, and it's like he doesn't look super quick. But like, dude, Keenan Allen isn't going to be effective because he's slow this year. It's like
he is. he looks especially fat and slow now. There's an out route that he was targeted on early, and Caleb threw it a little bit behind him, and it was a lot like the neighbors play, where if to catch it, he would have had to kind of defy physics and kind of go back in the direction that he was running and to make a play above him. Like, it definitely would have been a hard catch. It would have required a little bit of athleticism, certainly. But, like, Allen's attempt at the catch was like this little, like, 2-inch vertical, and like it skimmed off of his fingers. I'm like, okay, can we, like, I get that it is kind of a physics defying catch here, but that's what wide receivers are for, right? He just looks like, I don't know. He's washed for real this time. Last time he was a little washed.
Do you think
okay,
Travis
maybe not what he
Kelce
was in his
made that catch?
Yes. I mean, maybe he is just Travis Kelce now, and he just like zones his way and then pitches it back to Swift or something like that. They steal my lateral idea and implement it. But I am a little just like, Keenan has always been slow. I know his 250-yard performance or whatever it was against the Vikings last year. Like, I don't think he beat a single guy in man coverage the entire damn day. He was just like wide open in zone all day. It's like, maybe he doesn't need any speed to be useful, but he. Like, on the Hard Knocks clips, after I saw him playing in the game, I was like, is he looking big in the Hard Knocks clips? I'm like, he's kind of looking a little bigger than I remember Keenan Allen being. He's not looking very fast. Like, this is different than even it was last year. And it's like, okay, this could legitimately be a problem. Like, could he be the Bobby Wagner of wide receivers this year? I do think he could look, like, really washed. I do.
Maybe, but he's also a guy where, as much as I would like to say that he could be washed, I'm not going to believe he's washed until I see.
He's already, like, he's been washed the last 3 years, and Herbert has carried him. Like,
and how many yards did he have last year? Like,
he had a lot. He had a lot of yards. A lot of washed yards.
That's the bro's laundering yards.
Phony production
in 2023.
How many points per game did Jordan average when he was on the Wizards?
I think probably like 20.
20?
I could be wrong. I don't know.
He 23.
They weren't efficient. They sucked, and he sucks. Don't get me wrong.
That's to put it in terms Matt can comprehend.
It's like
Keenan
Michael
Allen
Jordan.
is 2001 Michael Jordan when he finished 13th in MVP voting.
Yeah, man.
And made the All-Star game.
That's just 13th in MVP voting. That just means one dope was like, no, bro. That doesn't mean shit, dude.
13th in MVP voting is. I didn't know that he got a vote in 2001.
And we could go look at the voting now, honestly. It didn't take that long.
He finished above Steve Nash, Jerry Stackhouse, Mike Bibby, Elton Brand, and Peja Stojakovic.
It doesn't show like he got 16 total points won. Congrats, bro.
He has the worst win shares per 48 of all the vote getters by a healthy margin.
And
I'll say
advanced
that.
analytics. I'm sorry, we're going to have to green check you today. That being said, we'll stay with Keenan. I don't really believe that he's put on a ton of weight.
He could have just been wearing a baggy shirt.
He could have. He could be trying to force a trade back to the Chargers.
James Harden. Ooh.
He misses Herbert so much.
He does.
That might be the take. Maybe Keenan Allen is the James Harden he's the NFL's James Harden. Maybe that's it.
Maybe, but her personal chef. He needs her personal chef back.
Yeah, I've been saying.
So true, man.
Her motivator was keeping the whole team fit. Look what happens. But maybe he impacted winning more than we thought. But at any rate.
At any rate. What were we talking about? How did we...
Well, we were talking about Maye versus Brissett, and then I was bored of that. So then I said Bagent versus Caleb.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
Did you guys catch the Bo Nix performance tonight?
I caught I did. I turned it off when it was Stidham.
Here's what I'll say about Bo Nix so far. You know those Barry McCockiner videos where he breaks down a Tom Brady game-winning drive, and it's just like, no respect for this, check down, lucky, and then they end up scoring? That's what every Bo Nix drive for the past, 3 years has been like. And I'm not even going to hate on it anymore. Look, everything tonight was fine. He looked pretty good. But the one complaint that I will share does not have to do with Bo Nix, who played well. But the announcers, I've never seen announcers on a player's dick like Sean Levy and Bo Nix tonight. I became salty that we did not pick him off. I'll be honest. I'm very salty right now that the Packers got beat so bad, because I wanted, like, he would hit the wide receiver, like, settle down in a wide open zone, and Bo Nix would hit it, and Sean Levy would be like, that's why he's going to be the Broncos starter for the next 15 years. Wrap up the starting quarterback battle right now. Like, he was, you almost have to go back and listen to it. It was after every single throw. Not a single other player got talked about. Like, nothing about Tim Patrick, nothing about anybody on any team. It was just like, oh my God, they were drooling over Bo Nix so bad, and it got to the point where I was like, okay, can we, like, he's playing good. I get it. He is. He's doing it. His footwork looks better. It looked improved. He's led them on a scoring drive, like, basically every time he's touched the ball. So it's been a good preseason for him. But oh my God, I needed Levy to stop glazing him, and that's all I'll say.
I will say this much about Bo Nix. I still remember at Auburn, I made a video on him once. I was like, this guy's got a little bit of, like, gamer in him, but man, he makes some awful plays. And all the comments were Auburn fans like, yeah, man, there's a reason we call him Bo Picks.
He's not that anymore.
I won't. That's true. But it is worth mentioning, like, how much his offense has changed since his days at Auburn. Yeah, and I do wonder that if he's ever put in a situation where he needs to, like, create, what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think when the bullets start flying for Nix, things could look very different. It's the preseason. He's played backups both nights, so.
I thought it was interesting, like, when Nix threw that touchdown that eventually got called back, how many people were like, oh my God, how did he do it? When, like, dude, I thought he, like, obviously wasn't, like, in front of the line of scrimmage. Like, he was way past it. He wasn't even close, dude. Like,
dude, that's why he was so open. Evan Williams, like, took off to go tackle him, and then he, like, threw a touchdown to an open guy, and they're like, the awareness of Bo Nix.
But it was like a bad awareness play. Like, it was a negative awareness play is what was so bizarre about it. And, like, I was like, oh, damn, like, where's the flag? And then, and I know with the line of scrimmage stuff, it's like just like your foot needs to be behind it, or like your elbow or whatever. And oftentimes it can look like you're past it and then you're not. But that one was wild.
Yeah, and just with the reaction after it, like the refusal to show, they didn't even like show a replay. They were just like going on and on and on about how great he was. And then he's like, well, the play may have gotten called back, but nothing is taken away from how amazing of a play it was. He's like, bro, everything gets taken back. Like, he made a dumbass, he got a penalty. And then like he underthrew some pass and then like pointed at himself, and they were like, now that is it, like, the announcer started tearing up. He's like, finally, a quarterback willing to show some accountability. This is what real leadership looks like. It's like, bro, and they told the backpack story. They're like, there must be chewing tobacco in there. You must have some type of vice since you learned the playbook in one night. And then it was just a football and the Bible. It's like, oh my God.
I forgot about the backpack story, and he had a football in there.
He had a football and a Bible, dude. He's literally the perfect man.
Here's the thing,
like,
though. Here's the thing, right? If Bo Nix ends up being, like, awesome, right? We're gonna get put on, like,
I don't care, man. He can be, like I said, he might be the next Tom Brady. I'm already there, dude, with what I said after
Tom Brady
drafted.
wasn't taken in the first round.
The thing about Bo Nix, I don't even dislike Bo Nix. Like, Bo Nix does seem like a very nice dude, like worthy of a lot of praise for his mindset and his work ethic and everything. But it's like, I need the announcers to stop glazing every little thing that he does. This must stop.
I think that's totally.
Otherwise, I will become a an even worse hater than I am now because that was pissing me off.
Yeah, and I think he had a fine performance. Like I did, I thought it was good. So
it was good.
I don't want to hate too much, but I feel what you're saying. I'm sorry, all Broncos fans listening though.
The Broncos look great though. Like they smacked down the Packers. Like even when the backups came in, like the Broncos backups were way better.
Smacked down the Browns. So,
ooh, I've got a Browns take.
Thrash
is nice. You actually drafted the next Aaron Donald with Hall Jr. I'm afraid he
is good.
His legal incident is very concerning and it's very fucked up. Like holding a gun to his fiance's head or his girlfriend's head. I can't remember the exact relationship. Like that's very bad. But when he's on the field, like I don't know if he's going to get suspended for this or whatever, but like he looks amazing. It's hard to overstate how good he looks at the defensive tackle spot right now.
The Browns' defensive line is going to be great again. Jim Schwartz he's going to have fun. He's going to have fun, man. And I'm going to have fun watching it. That's for damn sure. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens if Hall gets suspended. There's one other, as good as the Browns' defensive line is, we're currently getting into a bad habit of employing not the best men of character.
No.
But
he is good. Unlike the other questionable man of character that the Browns employ, like Michael Hall, like I do want to shout out how dominant he looks, because against Green Bay, he was absolutely cooking, and against the Vikings, I would say he was cooking to even a larger extent. So he is somebody to keep an eye on, their second-round rookie, because he has had an interesting preseason in a lot of different ways. But yeah, I think it is a bit questionable that the Browns are continuing to employ him and he's not being suspended or anything like that, because he has very troubling allegations.
Not a good look. Not a good look at all. But hey, they're probably too worried about trying to build a new stadium right now in, what is it, Brook Park or something? I thought it'd be interesting to try and buy a condo in Brook Park, years ahead of when the stadium would be complete. And then not only would the value of the property probably skyrocket, but I would just have somewhere to stay for Browns games. But
little Sunday flat,
and then I can just it's like an Airbnb the rest of the year, and then the NFL season comes around and I'm like, yeah, man, we're going to Cleveland every Sunday. But
who wouldn't want to be in Cleveland every Sunday? Do you guys think Ohio people are weird? Their own, do you think as a culture you guys are kind of weird?
No.
What is the culture of Ohio? I
don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something about people from Ohio. And I don't. It's not always even a bad weird, but there's just something.
Certainly not always.
But I don't know. I can't quite. I'm still developing this take, but they just don't fit anywhere else. You're not like East Coasters. You're not like Midwesterners. You're not like Southerners.
I think they're Midwest.
But there's some cultural differences. I don't know. The Ohio's
like what?
I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on what makes Ohio people.
I don't have a whole lot of
what are the.
I don't have a whole lot of issues with people in Ohio. I don't think. I went to my band played a show in Cambridge, Ohio, recently, or literally yesterday, Saturday. We drove an hour and a half out, and we get into Cambridge, which is a super rural town, and we're driving by lots of Trump flags, and we're feeling a little uncomfortable. But the people at the property we played on were very nice to us, so made me feel a little bit better.
Ohio people have been nice in there's just something, you know how Sir Yacht, He's always like going around doing crazy things for like the love of the Browns. Like that just is
more for the love
all
of Cleveland, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a good. He's like a concentrated version of maybe the entire Ohio mindset. But I feel like you guys are kind of go-getters in just the strangest ways. I don't know. It's like they're very motivated. Ohio people seem very motivated to do things.
I'm a Kentuckian now.
Yeah, that's right. You don't count anymore.
True.
I don't.
You're like irrelevant compared to the Ohioans now. I don't think I've even met a single Kentuckian.
But you
I've
have.
Well, I guess you know. Yeah.
But you haven't like hung out with Matt since he's been in Kentucky. So
True.
For good reason. Kentuckians.
But at any rate, I'm just rambling now. Maybe an Ohio theorist or more Ohio people can.
I mean, they say only in Ohio for a reason.
Yes. Like, water in Ohio, bridges in Ohio. People.
what's wrong with water in Ohio?
Just that's the thing. That's the joke, right? Like, in Ohio, only in Ohio, and it really is. Like, Ohio is just deserving of all these, like,
freaky.
I've got to be out here. I guess I'm going to be like the defender of Ohio at this point, man. Ohio catching too much slander these days. I would like to mention a little recap on our top 5 fruits episode. Notice how all the comments were on my side? Interesting.
Doesn't matter.
Interesting.
Doesn't make you right.
I think it does, man.
You know what? You might even be cooking on the pineapple thing.
No.
Here's the thing about pineapple. Look, it's too hard to prepare, man. Like, I'm not going to just keep a pineapple around here and slice that shit up through its tough ass outer shell.
You can go
when I could just eat an apple, maybe.
You can go somewhere and they will prepare you pineapple. Like, there are stores you can get fresh pineapple that's been like cut, like,
and then it's
that same
expensive
day.
as shit because they had to prepare it. I bought 3.5 pounds of bananas today, and it was $1.70. It's like the only fruit that you can buy that you get like still like 19 cents.
Yeah, but that wasn't the question, man. The question wasn't, well, what's the best value fruit? The question was, what is the best fruit?
And part of why bananas are the best is their value. Yes, if I have to go get it like prepared because it's spiky and then the fruit itself is tough and then it's like so acidic that if I eat too much of it, my tongue is raw for a day. It's like, no, dude, that's actually not a top 5 fruit. That fruit sucks.
No, man.
Like, I'm sorry, man.
Pineapple rocks. And then someone posted the meme of the flirting versus harassment, and it was peeling an orange versus decoring a peach.
That's true. It's like, and here's the thing. It's like peeling an orange is iconic. Peeling a banana is even more iconic.
Here's the thing. Peeling a banana is literally the orange peel gets all under your fingers and stuff, and then your fingers smell like oranges all day.
Peeling an orange does kind of suck, but do you guys peel a banana from the top or the bottom? That's what I want to know. Bottom?
Yep.
Bottom me as well.
Used to be a top guy, and then I squished the ends of too many bananas, and I said, I can't keep living like this. I can't keep doing this. This can't be it. And then the bottom, it's like, you just kind of pinch it, and then it like opens up real easy, and it's like, it feels like you should open it from the top. You seem like the type of guy to go the classical open it from the top way. No.
Me?
Yeah.
Maybe. I open it from the bottom, though. I read that monkeys open it from the bottom, and it's like they know how to open bananas better than anyone. They know how to open it. I'm not going to argue with the best.
I saw the monkey thing too, and
you know what's always bothered me? I don't know if you guys you'd be like in the lunchroom, middle school, and somebody would be look at this and they'd split it in half, but they do it like real cleanly. You ever see a guy do that?
No, I've never seen that.
I think it's wrong.
I'm not impressed. I actually hated that.
I mean, and then it's like, but here's the thing. Then I'm trying it like later at home or whatever, and I just like mush 2 bananas because I can't do it quick enough, and I'm like, that sucks. That's actually not good.
The nice part is they're so cheap.
Right now, and it cost me 41 cents.
Man, get your bread up, dog. I don't know what to tell you.
It's good that it's cheap, bro. I don't want to go spend like $8 on like a little thing of pineapple. That's ridiculous.
It's good.
Okay.
It's worth. I'll pay.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Pineapple's good. Don't get me wrong. It's good.
It is good.
It's not an
great.
unreasonable. It's not a crazy top 5, I guess. But you had it like 2 or 1.
Yeah, it's
right?
strawberries, pineapple, peaches, apples, tomatoes.
And the leaves
/
on
grapes.
strawberries, so you can't even like eat the whole thing. Like, dude, no. And you're left
All
with
right,
like these
man.
little like leafy bits.
You can just cut them off and throw them in the trash, man.
I have to cut them off.
Bro's just late. You have to throw away the peel. Like, I don't.
Banana
the
peel is
banana.
iconic.
Oh my god.
This is true. A banana peel, literally like. Has its own discourse.
Man.
Do you know
the
what
double
I'm saying?
standard
It's
is crazy. The double
crazy.
standard is
they don't have
crazy.
strawberry leaves as an item in Mario Kart, big man. Now why is that?
They don't have orange peels in Mario Kart either. But you notice how there's a band called Peach Pit.
There's a what?
There's a band called Peach Pit.
There's a band called Orange Peel.
Not one with any commercial success.
Not that. Yeah, man. And you notice how there's a Beatles song called Strawberry Fields Forever, right?
They're talking about the
Interesting.
field specifically.
Yeah, that's right.
The fruit.
All
could
right,
be
well.
whatever.
Yeah, it's whatever. Next episode we'll do another top 5 and I'll cook on that one too. But until then, thank you all so much for tuning in. And until next time, we'll catch you on the flippity flop.